The first really, really big project, and the last one before the Army Corps of Engineers gets in on the game, is the building of Bagnell Dam and the Lake of the Ozarks up in the northern part of the Ozarks by damming up the Osage River. It was completed in 1931. The construction process started about 1929. And this was a massive dam building project for the day and time, and required displacing entire towns, buying farmland from people, moving them out of the floodplain and all that kind of stuff, out of the out of the area that would be inundated by the dam. It was a privately built, owned and operated dam by the Union Electric Light and Power Company in St. Louis. So as the name would suggest, a big part of the motivation for building this was to generate hydroelectricity. And a big part of it as well was to generate things like land sales, because those of you who've been to the Lake of the Ozarks, how does the scenery around the Lake of the Ozarks differ from, say, Truman Lake or Bull Shoals Lake?
Houses everywhere. You're allowed to build right up in the lake.
Right. You can build houses right down to the water at these places. There's no zone like you get on the Army Corps of Engineers lakes. There's a zone that you can't build in, and you have to be so far from the shore and all that kind of stuff. The Lake of the Ozarks, because it was privately owned and operated, they started selling that land. It was high dollar land, and allowing development to take place. And they've been running into different sorts of environmental problems and all that kind of stuff for years because of that. And just last year, different kinds of land claim, legal problems and stuff where people had built houses on lots that they shouldn't have, and all that kind of stuff. There's always issues going on up there, seems like. But that's that's why it has a lot different feel. It's a privately, it's not operated by the Army Corps of Engineers, so it's a different kind of lake, different atmosphere. Maybe contributes to our discussion earlier that is considered more dangerous than these other places. That may be why. You don't have the government in there, putting regulations on this and that. And it is you do have more of a wide open atmosphere, an anything goes sort of atmosphere around that place. And it's been developing for a long time, over 80 years now up there. But one of the first things that the Union Electric Light and Power Company did was set up a company, basically a promotional company and a real estate company, to sell land, to start setting up resorts, hotels, restaurants, all that kind of stuff around the lake, to take advantage of the tourists who started coming in. And even during the Depression, they started coming in. But as you can imagine, after World War II, when America embarks on this long period of relative prosperity and affluence, when even factory workers all of a sudden have the leisure time and the money to take vacations, then the Lake of the Ozarks just explodes in popularity after World War II. And if you remember when we talked about stereotypes, and I showed you those pictures from the New York Times that had water skiers on the Lake of the Ozarks and stuff like that. It became very popular in the 1940s and 50s and 60s, and was known all around the Mid-America region. People came to the Lake of the Ozarks from all over the place. As more and more lakes start to be built, then obviously it takes some of the clientele away from the Lake of the Ozarks, though the fact that the Lake of the Ozarks was not built by the Army Corps of Engineers sometimes makes it more accessible for people, or at least, more wide open, as we were talking about. Here's a picture of the dam under construction in the late 20s or early 30s. If you ever just look on the internet, there's no shortage of dam construction photographs. People like to take pictures of dams as they're being built for some reason, and you can just find them all over the internet. And this is just one of many that you can find. And they are kind of neat, though. Just sort of see the guts of a massive project like that as it comes together. You can see it looks like horses or ox drawn something up there. I mean, we're talking about, again, over 80 years ago, so it's a mixture of more modern technology and some archaic methods as well. And here's a postcard with the completed Bagnell Dam and the Lake of the Ozarks behind it. And I think you can still tour Bagnell Dams. Anybody ever toured it? Like the inside of it? After 9/11, all of the Army Corps of Engineers dams stopped their tours for about 10 years or so. They just started a couple years ago giving limited tours down at Table Rock again. And I think there are still some of the Army Corps dams that still to this day don't do tours because of terrorism scares and all that kind of stuff. But I think Bagnell still does tours, But I went on the Table Rock tour a couple summers ago, and it's pretty neat. If you like seeing giant turbines and stuff like that, it's pretty interesting to me, But